That was cute.
Thanks. Welcome to Concrete Spirit.
Welcome.
I'm Amy.
I'm Karina.
Hi. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks. I thought we had a slogan.
I never know how to a slogan.
I thought we had like a thing where it's like we're fucking.
When did we come up with a thing? When did that ever happen?
When you looked up an outline for the podcast on the thing. I'm just gonna start calling it shibashi.
You just like don't even try to say letters or words. I always feel awkward starting it and ending it. I do it. Hi, welcome. Goodbye. Like I always feel really weird. Like in the middle part, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Hi.
Like it's something you said something. It said something.
Do you want me to pull it up?
Yeah.
Did we like it?
I think so. It's something about bringing like the spiritual.
Oh, like a tagline?
Yeah, like a tagline. Not a slogan. Not a slogan.
My stomach feels weird now.
From your tofu?
There
it was.
Yeah. Excuse me.
She's gallbladderless.
Living a spiritual life in a physical world.
There, that's it.
I don't like that. Sounds stupid.
Oh, okay. Well, then.
I don't like. Oh, I'm gonna say a saying every time. Hi, like.
Well, there's a lot of podcasts do. It's a normal thing.
I know, but just because everybody else does it doesn't mean we should do it. I don't want to be like mainstream dumbasses.
Okay, so let's say.
I feel like I don't want to say anything.
Hey, Concrete Spirit, fuck off.
Why are you so amused by that?
Because it's something I would do.
Okay. It's something you did do.
I just
now.
did it.
What the fuck?
So.
Okay. So yeah, when you're like, do you have the Kundalini awakening with me? I was like, ew.
Not a cunnilingus.
Like, well, why are you hitting on me? Like, it made me super uncomfortable. And I was like, yeah, I guess, because I felt weird.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean for you to feel weird, but that's not what it is.
It feels sexual.
It isn't.
Okay.
It's more yogic.
Yogic? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in here.
Oh yeah. Well, are you gonna?
Oh yeah, I fucking forgot, dude.
Well, this is you. I'm just following along.
Let me pull it up here.
So, the name of the episode is "Breath of Awakening," pranayama, and the Kundalini.
Kundalini.
Are you sure?
Yep. Kundalini journey.
Introduction to podcast episode. Our name, the slogan thingy from the last time. It literally says that the slogan thingy from the last time.
So here's why I wanted you to go over it, because I didn't want to just be all.
Well, no, I mean we can like so.
So basically,
what is Kundalini? Like I don't. I've never. I don't know if I heard of it. How have I heard? Have I heard of it? I don't know.
So
it sounds familiar because it sounds like oral sex.
It's not. That would be cunnilingus.
I know what cunnilingus is.
Okay, but that would be
sounds like oral sex. Listen to my words.
So basically, Kundalini. So I'm not saying cunnilingus the whole time.
That's not a word.
Kundalini. So Kundalini is energy that is rooted at the base of your spine in the root chakra that lays dormant until it's awakened, and it's actually described or thought to be like what is the word I'm looking for? Let me see if I can find it here in my it's
thought to be it says tantra right there. Tantra.
Yeah, but I because I knew you were gonna give me that shit about that tantra,
I
which
see
means
that.
it's a.
Oh, oops! I just wrote on it. I was just. What is happening right now?
I thought you wanted to get sexual, Mom. She's gonna just stick there.
I don't know what she's
so
doing.
Weird.
It is very weird.
She's just hugging you.
I don't know.
Weird. Careful, you have a microphone on. So
right.
First,
ow, fucking douchebag.
So you can visualize it a little bit better. Are you gonna be okay?
No, I'm not. Hi.
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 What?
So you
Okay.
can visualize it a little bit. It's at the base of your spine. It lays dormant. It's an energy.
Does it have a color? Is it white, like white light, or
No, it's actually
green?
described. No.
Blue? Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, it's symbolized as a coiled serpent that lays dormant at your spine.
I'm sorry.
Why is that funny?
All I just imagined was a big swirling pile of poop because it's right by your butthole.
It's true, except it would be a snake, like a serpent. Is that what a serpent is? Like a snake?
Yes. So the poop snake energy.
Yeah. So basically,
Is
when
it
you
a color?
awaken,
I feel like it should be a light. Like a color.
it
It's a light.
maybe.
Is it a light?
I didn't read anything about that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying
However,
really hard.
no,
I
but
don't know
you're
what my problem
okay.
is right
This
now.
is exactly what I wanted to happen. Was the banter still to be funny, but
Why are you making those hand gestures? Or do you like?
Oh my God! Yesterday, speaking of hand gestures, I don't know if it's a shot or what. Yesterday, I could not move my hand from this lobster form.
That what?
I every time I would like stretch it out and then lay it dormant.
She discovers like one new word and then that's all. She tries to use it in every
It would just
sentence.
go back to the same form
I feel
all
like
by itself.
that's like a nervous system problem. You should probably go to the doctor and get some kind of a
Maybe,
scan.
but I was cool. I thought it was cool. I was like, oh, I have a lobster hand now. I could go to the circus and perform for people.
I don't think that would be what constitutes you being in a freak show. Not that I'm saying you shouldn't be in a freak show, but I
What
don't
would
think it's
constitute?
because
Okay,
of
let's
your
name one thing.
this.
Oh, that's not fair. That would be a list of things. Name the first thing.
All of this. This.
Did you burn yourself with a curling iron?
Did I? No, I ran into my shelf and it like ripped this huge gouge.
Holy
This was
shit.
like a week and a half or 2 weeks
You
ago. I'm like feeling, yeah, right here, the corner, and it was like this big bruise and this gash, and it was aggressive, and everybody was asking me what happened as if I was getting beaten. Yeah,
From Raul.
Yeah, yeah.
Please.
Like I went to go get my face laser, like the woman that does my face, she's like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And then the guy that I went to go pay, he goes, "What happened?" I'm like, "You guys don't know me." Well, she knows me like that, but I'm like, "You don't know me like that." Yeah, everybody was concerned about my well-being. Well, I'm a klutz is what happened.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I ran into something, that shelf in there.
Which is hilarious, all on its own.
Why is that funny? My pain brings you joy?
No, I'm just envisioning you running into a shelf.
No, it's right on the inside of this door. So I walked in and I hooked the corner too hard, and then I hooked the corner of the shelf with my arm.
So hilarious.
Yeah, it was great.
It's so hilarious.
It was an amazing experience.
So coilized.
Okay. Let's regroup. So Kundalini
Mhm.
is the poop serpent energy at your base of your butthole.
That is correct.
Okay.
Base
I
of.
got it.
Well, yes.
Root chakra. That's
Sure. Yes. Base of your butthole.
I almost said solar plexus. Your coccyx. I love saying that word. That's your tailbone. Your coccyx.
Why is it called a cock?
It's called a coccyx.
Is
because
it
that's
6 cocks? No, not funny. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so basically.
Okay. So hold on. I'm wondering. You talk. I'll stop. First of all, I'm just kidding.
So what? Okay, where were we at?
So what is Kundalini and how pranayama helps awaken the balance?
Pranayama is a form of breathing.
Let's not jump forward.
Okay.
Because we're still talking about poop serpents, right? Which obviously is not correct. Okay, so say I asked what's Kundalini, and your description is the awakening. But so let me out.
It refers to a spiritual experience.
The Kundalini is an energy that sits at your root chakra that's described as this
coiled
serpent. This snake. The poop serpent.
Correct.
Okay, and that it just sits there until I realize it's there and do something about it.
Until we decide to take the proper guided steps to awaken the spirit. And in that case,
there's a spirit, a snake spirit?
No, awaken the energy. I'm sorry, which is a powerful spiritual experience.
Okay.
It's an Indian tradition.
Okay.
Okay,
Which would explain the yoga part.
right, which explains the yoga and the tantra.
Tantric yoga, that's sex.
But no. So the definition of tantra is it means in Sanskrit to weave or to expand.
So
And it's an
if I
ancient
eat too many brownies, my thighs are tantric.
yeah, expanded.
Yeah. I have a tantric ass. My butt's big.
It's getting smaller.
Well, it'll never be small.
So Tantra itself is an ancient spiritual tradition from India that teaches how to expand and connect with the divine energy through practices like meditation, mantra, which is just chanting, ritual, or yoga.
Okay.
And that helps bring spiritual awareness into every part of life.
Okay, so
not necessarily only sexual.
So I want to weave meditation, chanting, and ritual and yoga together to awaken the energy in my butthole. Am I on point? Am I following this properly
Yes,
so far?
correct, yes.
Okay.
I mean, that's one way to do it, correct.
Okay.
There's a lot of different aspects to awakening Kundalini energy.
What's the point of it? Why do I need it? Why
so
would I want
the
to do
reason of doing that is because what happens when it awakens, when you awaken that energy at the base of your spine, that serpent goes essentially
I don't want to be all I have, like my brain is like being penetrated by a snake.
That's this essentially the energy ends up
going. Yes. Well,
so the point of it, okay, here it is right here.
Okay, so the poop snake is at the butthole.
Yeah. It is said, I'm just going to read this one part. It is said that when this energy awakens, it rises through the body's energy centers, which is the chakras, also known as the body's energy centers, along the spine, leading to profound changes in consciousness, perception, and sometimes physical sensations.
As it's happening, or just forevermore?
The point would be forevermore.
Can I make the snake go back to sleep if I am not doing what I'm supposed to be doing?
I would assume
so. Be like,
yes. It would be going
now you're
backwards.
crazy, bitch. I'm out.
Yeah, it would be probably going essentially recessioning. What's the word?
Receding. Recessioning. I like that. So, you know how like when they always have like you're to open your chakras and like the chakra's blocked and that chakra's blocked. Like, do all of your chakras have to be open and not blocked in order? Then you have to do the whole serpent butthole and then.
Yeah, because the point of it would be in line. That is correct. It is super important. I was reading that everything, because there's so much involved in awakening that energy, you have to do it properly, which is what the pranayama, which is what that breath work. There's different kinds of breath work. Remember when we did the sound bath?
Yeah.
So all of those different types of breath work are called something, and they all do something different.
Okay.
And all of that would essentially lead, like if you do it on a daily basis and you consciously are like doing the meditation and the yoga and the breath work all in like on a normal basis, then essentially you can get to the point where Kundalini would arise by itself.
How long does it take?
It could take years.
Never mind, I'm out. That sounds like a lot of work.
It doesn't have to take years. Sometimes it's sudden, sometimes it's smooth, sometimes it, you know what I mean? Sometimes that happens to people without them being prepared for it.
Right.
Which could be.
How do you know if it's happened? What if you
would know, because if you're unprepared for it, it's almost considered to be like a spiritual emergency.
What does that mean?
Like a nervous breakdown.
I've had several of those.
So like I was listening to I have two, but I was listening to a lady talk about having one where something she heard a popping in her head, in her brain, and liquid like water came from her nose.
Okay. And I had something like that happen back here, but I think I pulled something. And
she went to the dentist, not the dentist. She went to the hospital.
Okay.
They told her she had a stroke. When she went and had a follow-up visit with whatever kind of stroke doctor, they told her you did not have a stroke, but we can't explain what happened. We don't know what happened. So then she went, because she's part of she enjoys calling it woo, but she like woo woo.
Okay.
And she went to a spiritual, whatever, mentor of hers.
Okay.
And he said that when she explained everything that happened the night that situation happened, it sounded more like a Kundalini awakening. So they went on, they did like whatever meditation and yoga and whatever, like research into that, and it more fell in line with that. So like, I don't know, in
my left nostril is always leaking, and I don't know why. Maybe is that
it could be.
it's not. It's not, Karina.
Listen, there's a lot involved.
Okay, so so where are we at?
So
Serpent coiled 3.5 times at the base of the spine, located within the root. So the energy's in the root, in the middle of the root chakra?
correct. Maybe wrapped around it. Because it follows your spine directly up through all the rest of your body energy centers.
Okay. So if I go through the Kundalini awakening, then it'll be a rebirth.
Correct.
Okay.
It would be like you're a new person. And they say it brings like a form of immortality. Obviously, immortality is not necessarily like you can't just like not die. But like in a way, like your spirit would be immortal.
I feel like that's already the case.
Maybe you have had it then.
I thought that was the case for everybody. Like,
well, I mean, like,
because it's like, well, like in my world,
this is all coming from like Sanskrit and
Okay.
Indian traditions.
Okay.
So like maybe they believe something like instead of
so it does
being,
have religious origins.
it does have religious
Okay.
origins.
Okay. So then that's why I don't fully understand. And that's okay. Oh, wait. Oh, I like this. So as the Kundalini awakens, it rises through the 7 chakras, each representing different aspects of consciousness: survival, sexuality, power, love, communication, intuition, and transcendence.
Which I thought was interesting because if you feel like there's, obviously everybody has room for improvement in their life. Nobody is like self-actualized to the fullest degree of
Right.
like being perfect. Nobody
I'm
ever
close.
you are
No,
fucking
I'm
gross.
nowhere near. I'm a fucking shit show.
But like, I'm curious, is like, would it be possible to like start the awakening and then take like extra time on the chakra you feel?
Like the serpent head stops at this chakra.
Yeah, like would you want to take more time on the sexuality part of it?
I just thought it was like when it decided to go, it was like climbing all the way up to the top of it.
I mean, that's what it would seem like, right? But like
There goes in stages?
that's what I would be curious about.
Oh, I thought with 9 pages of notes you would know this.
Well, I mean, I didn't go. So what I did with the research is I went into what it would do, what it would take for us to begin the awakening, because I do expect it to take like time, and I feel like I feel like it would be fun.
It doesn't sound fun. It sounds like a lot of hard work.
It does sound like a lot of hard work, and it sounds like but I think that with the both of our places in our life that we are,
right,
I think it would be super beneficial for both the things that both of us are going through separately,
right,
to have a partner going through this together
right
at the same time would be.
So here you bullet point sacred fire and inner alchemy. It's also seen as a sacred inner fire that burns away ignorance. Okay, so if you're having this awakening, it should help get rid of ignorance, which is lack of knowledge, ego, and old patterns of behavior, right?
Yeah.
As it rises, it purifies the subtle body. What does that mean?
Subtle, what did I have that somewhere
Unblocking
else?
higher states of awareness, much like how fire transforms raw material into something refined and pure.
I do have that.
So it's like a phoenix kind of a situation, is what I get, like the imagery I get from.
Yeah, and then on another note, it also could be looked at as like the feminine and the masculine. So like the Shiva and the Shakti on the next bullet point. In yogic philosophy, the Shakti, which is the feminine energy, that's what lies dormant as Kundalini, while the Shiva, which is just pure consciousness, resides in the crown chakra. So your point of awakening the feminine energy would be to get to the crown chakra, which would be pure consciousness.
There's no male energy.
That's I meant. I didn't mean it. That was an accident.
What was an accident?
Saying male energy.
Oh, because men are dumb. Boys are lame. You don't get to play.
Or maybe the masculine would be the pure consciousness.
No, don't you fucking dare even try that right now.
No way.
Okay, so maybe, you want to know what it is that the male energy is probably the ego, right? Like that's the masculine energy. So then the feminine energy comes to conquer that into pure consciousness.
I love that.
That sounds about right.
That sounds great.
Not in like a sexist fucked off way.
No,
but like,
fuck off.
But I mean, it's really like because the masculine energy is like strong power, like rah, right, where the feminine softens that
and ignorance,
and then together they can, yeah,
pretty much. These are just different. I think these are just different. What I wrote here are different symbolisms.
Okay.
Of the Kundalini energy.
Oh, signs and experience. What do you have? Okay, wait a minute. Do you have in here how to?
Yes.
I feel like we should talk about how you would start that journey before we start talking about how to tell if it's actually working.
So
right?
it would
yeah. Do you agree?
So I didn't. So here's the thing, is practices. I guess that would be like practices associated with awakening the Kundalini, right?
Right.
So I have
the pranayama.
Yeah. So meditation would be like a number one thing.
Okay.
Right.
What pranayama is breath work.
Right. Pranayama is breath work. Yoga. There is specific Kundalini yoga that you can do.
Oh, here we go. Oh, okay.
You found it.
So, yeah, I found
it. Okay. There's chanting and
what
yeah,
poop
something
snake, poop snake. Oh. Sorry, that was so stupid.
Poop serpent, by the way.
Poop snake.
And other devotional practices,
you know that,
which really could be anything.
Right. You know that
maybe there's a Kundalini.
Did you know that the tool that they use to unclog toilets is called a snake? I don't think that's a coincidence.
Oh my gosh, I just got that.
The snake is like to unclog.
So that when it comes up,
because it's a long tube that you shove in there to like.
Does stuff come up when you use that?
I don't know. Probably
maybe
not.
that
I think
is
it
being
pushes
awakened.
It through. Gross. It's not.
Oh, jeez.
Well, so other devotional practices, meaning I could achieve potentially. So if what Kundalini awakening is like the coming into like a pure state of consciousness, it could be achieved by me being Christian and going to church.
Correct.
Okay.
And I think that is mainly because
I'm seeking a higher power, like a greater consciousness.
And it talks about that somewhere in my 9 pages.
Okay.
About power greater than ourselves. Like
maybe
it has to be.
You're being called to this or drawn to this because you're currently going through this process.
I think that it's time. I think because here's the thing:
maybe it's already starting, and like so you just need to.
Well, and the reason
more, like both of us have been called to do more spiritually, which is why we started meeting on Thursdays, and like it's like there's something missing, something more is needed. Yes. Right. Like we're being told to do something more. Maybe it's because the process has already started, and we need to continue.
The reason I thought, this would be a perfect thing for me and Amy to do together or approach together is because there are things that you're going through in your life that I think this would be the perfect path. There are things that I'm going through in my life that I think this would be the perfect or like you said, we have already started on this path and we just need that. I just think that
we're both searching for something.
Right.
I feel like, okay, for me personally, something within me has been telling me for a while that I need to be doing something more spiritually, that I need to connect in a different way, that there's something that I'm missing. And I don't know what it is. And I've not taken the time to explore that. And which is why we started meeting. But that's been a fucking shit show.
A total shit show.
And it's, So you guys understand, a few months ago, actually.
God, it's been months. I feel
Yeah, okay, it's been like 2 or 3 months. We really wanted to kind of explore like different like witchcraft practices, different ways of connecting with God, like crystals, spell work, tarot, just like anything and everything, right? Because both of us being members of Alcoholics Anonymous, we have to look to God, or what we consider to be God, whatever our higher power is, higher power,
I wasn't gonna
to,
say it.
right, to stay sober, right? So God has to direct my life, and however God looks for me. So I was both Karina and I were wanting to explore, not necessarily like Wicca as a religion or paganism as a religion,
Right.
but like the different practices within those kind of religious, or just,
Those walls in general.
yeah, just like, so we decided that we were going to start meeting once a week to like read. We have some books that we were reading, do different
Yep.
spell work, just because we both are of the belief that like, regardless of who you think God is, right? Jesus, Buddha, whoever, that we're surrounded by energy, right?
Mm.
And in using herbs or crystals or just words or prayer or meditation, we can try to help manipulate and direct that energy to help bring about things in our life in a positive fashion. So we wanted to explore that. And originally it was just going to be her and I, but then other people were invited because they're also interested in this. But
Or interested.
the problem is that what's going the Karina and our other friend Haley have a very sassy shit talking dynamic as friends. So when we get into this spell work, not religious, spiritual space, they don't put that aside, and it's just them talking shit.
Right.
So it's been,
and it's been a shit show.
Yeah, it's been a shit show. We haven't gotten anywhere. We made it clear that they didn't want me to be in charge. I made it clear I didn't want to be in charge because I'm their sponsor in AA. And yet every single time we meet, it's, Amy, what do we do? And so it's just been a mess.
It makes it difficult because Amy's our sponsor to separate that leadership role.
Yeah, to
you know
turn
what I
it
mean?
into a different dynamic.
Right.
So I'm constantly being mom and telling them to cut it out, and then they're constantly looking to me for direction, which I don't have because I don't come
And then
prepared to
I
do
get
anything.
offended because I don't want that to be my dynamic in the group that we started.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I get offended, but it is something that I contribute to.
Yeah,
So
she gets offended because I tell her to stop, and then it's like,
Wait,
like I'm not doing, and she gets all mad at me. But I'm like, you're the one that's sitting here fighting with Kaylee.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are 12.
Yeah,
Like,
it's true. It's so true, and I'm so sorry about that.
No, it's fine. And so then I was like, Karina does a lot of time, like all of this. She does all the research. She's fucking, she has the free time and uses the free time to study and do all of this stuff. So she has more knowledge about these things than I do currently. Yet for some reason is not is fearful of taking on the role of like, this is what I've learned.
I get nervous. I get nervous. I do have like a fear of like speaking in front of people, but I'm really good at it though.
It's me and Haley.
Right, I know. And Chaz. And but I have proven to be really good at public speaking. Like at Woodglen, I was really good at it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And like people
It's
loved my groups.
It's we're sitting on the floor in a circle,
right?
Bullshitting.
Right. So I do also, I think another fear of it for me is feeling like not as smart as I maybe am. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do what you're saying, but it just comes back to what I've been saying for the last several weeks, is that when we sit there and like, you're a fucking idiot, you're fucking stupid, you're a dumb bitch, and that's all you're saying to each other. That's all. Of course, you fucking are insecure and not like, yeah, it's joking to a degree, right? But we're in that
where's
space,
that going subconsciously?
right? And we're supposed to be in that space to be lifting each other up and supporting each other, but we're doing the exact opposite. But it's a joke.
Yeah.
And that's not, I'm just tired of that joke.
I'm over it. Yeah.
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 And like, I am super snarky and sarcastic and I talk a lot of shit, but I've been working really hard to change the way in which I do that.
Yeah. Well, there has to be some type of boundary with it.
Right.
Or
because I get really mean and it's super funny to everybody, but really like, why? Like, why am I saying those things?
Right.
I don't like it. And I want to be better about it.
I want to be better about it too.
Okay,
High
so
five.
I almost just started talking shit because I was really lame. Well, why are we high fiving? Okay, so what are we
So,
lost? So pranayama is a type of breath work that
mhm.
is specifically to help with Kundalini awakening,
Well,
or
I don't know if it's specific to Kundalini. I almost said Kundalini.
hmm,
I would like to point out that in modern times, I just want to read this little tidbit. In
okay,
modern times, Kundalini awakening is sometimes seen as a spontaneous event, um, happening outside of traditional practices, often triggered by intense life events, spiritual practices, or even trauma.
which would make sense because
Which is what.
I feel like, especially in the Western world, there's a lot more attempt at trying to have a spiritual way of life versus religious. So I could see something like a Kundalini awakening happening in terms of how it's defined in the Indian or Sanskrit religion,
Mhm.
but through other means of spiritual connection.
Right, and then also the thing is like nowadays with people always wanting to do these, and I don't know if this is maybe just my brain, but in my opinion, I think that all this newer generation wants to do these like off these weird like designer drugs and like these hallucinogenic drugs that bring on what seem to be like a spiritual
Oh, like
experience.
DMT. Yeah.
DMT, mushrooms, acid, all of those things. And in my opinion, my spiritual experience came, my first spiritual experience came from like being 100% clear minded
And sober.
and sober.
Right.
And like, so I think that like forced spiritual connection through some type of like,
It's not as deep and
it
meaningful.
doesn't mean
It's
anything.
not as
Right.
deep and
Yeah.
meaningful.
It just
I
doesn't.
feel like it can mean something, but like when I can understand the idea that like being in a medicated state through whatever hallucinogenic or whatever
Right.
drug or what have you, because you to a degree disconnect from your physical body, so you feel like or think that you're in more of like your spirit sense,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because what is that saying that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience?
Mm,
But but I think what it is that your mind gets whacked out, right? Because we've
right.
done our share of drugs,
Right.
so you feel like you're having a spiritual experience when in fact your brain's just misfiring.
Well, and that's the thing is like back when I was doing that, I was sober and I was doing that ketamine
Hmm.
that was prescribed by a doctor and done
Right.
in like an office like
Controlled
controlled
environment.
environment and observed by doctors and nurses. I I was dissociating, but
It
was
made you super uncomfortable.
yeah, I was not having a spiritual experience.
Right.
And then when it was time to be done with it, to be honest with you, God stepped in and I tripped and ended up in a K-hole. And I was like, I do never want to do that again.
Right.
And
I
that was
don't. What's
like
a K hole? I don't know what that is.
well, like a K-hole's like when like literally it feels like you're spiraling. Like
Okay.
your vision is spiraling. You cannot stop the room from like you can't
It's like a super intense vertigo.
yeah, and like you cannot decipher what's real and what's not.
Ew,
And
that
it was
sounds terrible.
absolutely terrifying.
Well, especially when you're so
And especially when you're sober.
when you're recovered.
Yeah,
So
which I was
right,
not by at
let's
that time, but
right, but still, like, so for those of you that are listening that are not in are not alcoholics or drug addicts, right? Because we are very different and very strange in a lot of ways. Like when when you're living your life like in the grips of your addiction, you want to be super fucked up. You want to be loaded, like you like the way that feels.
right.
But when you do the work that is required so that you don't need drugs or alcohol anymore, you don't like the feeling of being loaded, almost
Or
like a
like
normal person.
out of control.
Yeah, like so basically the feeling we search for when we're in our disease and like are not doing what we're supposed to be doing connected to God, that feeling we're searching for is that like completely fucked off, blackout loaded, really like just loaded.
Yeah.
The idea of feeling like that now, it's terrifying to me.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the other morning.
Literally sick to myself.
Yeah, it was a couple of months ago. It was when I quit vaping in July.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got in this really bad habit of stealing one of my boyfriend's cigarettes, and
One of your boyfriends.
every morning I would smoke
You
like
mean
one
one
cigarette.
of his cigarettes?
One of my boyfriend's cigarettes.
Sounds like you have multiple
Oh
boyfriends.
no, no, one of my boyfriends, as in apostrophe s, not s apostrophe. one of the cigarettes belonging to my boyfriend.
There we go.
Anyway, so I would get up and I would go out and I would smoke a few hits and I would like smoke this cigarette throughout the day, which so basically I was replacing, after I hadn't vaped in months, I started smoking one like fucking cigarette every day. So one morning I got up and I went out here.
By being betrayed by me.
Probably. No, that happened several months after that. So I was out on the balcony and I took a couple hits, and you know, if you've ever like not used nicotine or quit and then took like a couple hits off a cigarette, it makes you super lightheaded.
Yes.
And it was like the normal, like the lightheaded, like the head rush you get from hitting a cigarette after a really long time, but times 10.
Oh no.
And it lasted for a really long time. And I remember I sat there and I grabbed onto the couch and I was panicking. I was like, please God, make this feeling stop, because I felt loaded and I hated it. And which is wild because all I ever wanted was that feeling.
All of it.
So I think that we're getting like, we're super like way off the rails, but like I feel like that speaks to the fact that if you are connected to God and God is running your life, spirit, the universe, whatever you want to call it, if that feeling makes you panic and not feel okay, then that to me indicates that maybe getting loaded or using a hallucinogenic is not what you think it is, and you're not having a spiritual experience.
Yeah.
Because my life every day is a spiritual experience now.
Right.
Because I'm sober.
Right.
Did that make sense?
Totally.
Okay.
Totally. And I always explained my connection with God as like I believe in God for like the sake of my program, but like every time I can take a deep breath and calm my heart from racing, that's proof that God exists.
Right.
You know what I mean? Every time that I can I don't know, attempt to like change a negative thought pattern into a regular positive thought pattern, that's proof for me that God exists. So those are all a spiritual experience for me.
Right.
At this point in my life. You know what I mean? Which was absolutely 100% impossible.
Right. Well, like the fact that we get up every day and go to work and then go home and then start over again Monday through Friday, when you used to push a grocery cart around.
Yeah.
I used to not push a grocery cart around, but was still on the streets. Right. May as well. I had a backpack. Right. And couldn't go multiple hours without getting high. Like that's proof that God exists.
Yeah. Insane.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Oh yeah. So back.
Okay, sorry, I got a little ahead. What are we doing?
Okay. So deeper look into the actual act of pranayama, which is, so prana means the life force or vital energy. This word comes from Sanskrit. It's derived from a Sanskrit word as well for an ancient yoga practice that is focused on breath control.
Okay, so pranayama is the expansion of your life force through breath.
That's exactly right. Yep, and like expansion, extension, control of the life force or the vital energy. So it was. I've enjoyed this part too because they say that pranayama or controlling the breath is the bridge between the mind, the body, and the spirit.
Okay.
So, and I put a metaphor in here for explaining that. Do you want me to go over that now?
Sure.
So think of the breath like a bridge over a river.
Okay.
On one side is the body, solid, physical, tangible. On the other side is the spirit, vast, invisible, mysterious. And in between, flowing constantly, is the mind, always moving, sometimes calm, sometimes stormy. The breath is the bridge that connects all three. When you walk across it,
okay.
When you walk,
because I'm like, the bridge isn't in the water; it's over the water. But fine. Go ahead.
When you walk across it, when you pay attention to your breathing, you can travel freely between your body, your mind, and your spirit. Without the breath, the three parts stay isolated. So without the bridge.
Okay.
With
so like this
breath,
would be like a bridge that you could bungee jump off of into the river.
Correct.
That's how you connect the mind.
Or just walk over it. Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I'm getting too literal. Yeah, it's fine. It's good. It's fine.
And then with conscious breath, they work together.
Maybe instead of a bridge, it's stepping stones in the water.
There you go.
Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 different types of breathing in pranayama.
Correct.
Okay.
These are just the common types of pranayama. I don't know if there's more.
Okay, so what is it like if I get up every morning and I do these 5 things?
No. You can choose one or the other.
Are they're not supposed to be intermingled?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, so here's the thing: is my idea is like choose a Kundalini yoga. I found a Kundalini um, meditation that we can link in the show notes if we want. Um, and like the Kundalini meditation is guided and it has a voice to it, so she'll tell you like
When to breathe and how to breathe.
when to breathe and how to breathe, and she calls them different things. So she calls something, one of them, a fire breath.
Must eat garlic first.
So the fire breath would actually be the Bastrika, which is the bellows breath.
Okay.
And a bellow is the thing that pumps air into the fire. So like it would be an equally strong. Yes. And
Where would do the breath work?
Yeah. It would be fast.
And that's the one that makes you like lightheaded and tingly.
Yes, and it boosts vitality and wakefulness. So
Okay.
it would be one you do in the morning.
I like these. I feel like we should hit on them. So if you change your breath, you change your physical state.
Mm-hmm.
If you change your breath, you shift your mental and emotional state.
Mm-hmm.
If you refine your breath, you deepen your spiritual awareness. This is why ancient practices like pranayama see breathwork as a sacred key to unlocking both personal healing and profound spiritual awakening. So the thing that I would not have this perspective or understanding, because honestly, had I not done the sound bath and breath work, we have,
which was beautiful,
right? I've done a bunch of them with.
We need to do it again.
So had I not done breath work before, I'd have been like, this is horseshit,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I have some friends that do a sound bath with breath work, and the breath work is like what she was what was it, the fire breath,
which would be the
Bastrika. So and they do they call it circular breathing in the sound bath. But basically, what we do is we lay there and then we do the circular breathing. It's like in and out really hard and out really fast, and this, but you're constant, like you never pause. You never have that, like, because normally you take a breath and like, now I'm not breathing, I'm talking, and like as we're just sitting and relaxing, there's like a pause in between breaths, is I think your body's like using the oxygen. In circular breathing, there's no pause, and it causes your body to like, it almost gives you this like separate, you almost feel high, like a floating, it's wild. And it helps to like put you into this like meditative state that like you see like wild things. I have like the first time I ever did this was at the Orange County Convention, Alcoholics Anonymous convention. I think it was 3 years ago. It was the first time I'd ever done breath work. It was only 4 or 5 months after my dad had passed away, and I literally spent an hour talking to my dad. Oh my God. Yeah, the whole time. And it was just through doing this breath work, and they play the crystal bowls and all of that. But it put me into this state where I was literally with my dad, who had passed away less than 6 months prior, for an hour. And like he was like talking to me and consoling me and hugging me, and like, and I could hear his voice, and it was all just through breathing, which it was super cool. Amazing, so I could see how this could help. And so and well, that's what they talk about, is like these kinds of things, like prepare, like the benefits of pranayama would be like it calms the nervous system, it increases energy and focus, but it also prepares the mind for that deep state of meditation. Absolutely. So, and I've experienced that personally, right? So I would agree. Yeah. Another type of breath that they do is like this nadi shodhana. That's an alternate nostril breathing, which I don't even understand like, how that. Yeah, but without doing that. I can do it on my right side, but I can't do it on my left side. I don't even know if I can do it at all. I can do it on my right. I can. So how do you isolate your nostril nasal passageway? So the coolest part about I can do it on my right side. Maybe it's because my. Well, are you a right-sided brain person? I'm equal. Oh, okay. I'm. Maybe it's something with that left nostril. I don't need that, but it's constantly leaking. Oh, it's constantly leaking. I'm right-handed. Like, I can make it. I can't do it on my left side either. You look so retarded. You're all. How does it work? So it's okay. I'm sorry. What is this? So it's called Nadi Shohana, and what it does is it helps balance the right
the left and the right side of the brain and purifies the energy channels. That's what it says.
You're supposed to be able to have the ability to breathe through whichever nostril you feel like it. Did they train you? Is there some kind of
I bet
like
there's something you can look up.
I don't know that I'm interested in that. That just seems
So
aggressively
the
weird.
next one that we have is the Kapala body. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's what it looks
Kapala
like.
Bhati.
Bhati, yeah. So that one is a skull shining, and I also read that it's
Skull shining.
What
does that
or like
even
a
mean?
skull cleansing, like a cleaning of the skull.
Illuminating?
Yeah. Series of forceful exhales and like to cleanse the lungs and energize the mind. So it would be like only the strong exhales. So it would be like a nice smooth inhale with a
Okay.
Mhm.
There's a lot of different breathing. Right. I feel
There's
like to
deep
like
breath,
go into like
victorious breath.
that's not okay. So here where it says that how pranayama supports kundalini awakening, it says cleansing the nadis, which are the energy channels. The nadis. Is that the chakras?
Yeah.
Okay.
Energy channels, energy centers, yeah. And then it would stabilize the emotional mental turbulence that you have prior to anything that would be caused by the kundalini awakening. Because
Excuse me, what? Say that again. I don't understand. I feel like you're telling me it's going to be a traumatic event to have a kundalini awakening.
It can be.
Well, then why would I like? Why?
So let me tell you.
If I do it gradually and I do all these things and these breathings and all, why would it be something that's shocking to me?
So this is why I wrote it down for you, right? So the signs and
So you'd fucking read it, you dumb whore.
So it's okay. The Kundalini awakening is considered. We're doing the signs and experiences real quick. So the Kundalini awakening is considered a profound energetic and consciousness shift.
Okay.
It is said that it is an intense experience and can sometimes be destabilizing. It is recommended to approach it gradually.
Right. So it's like if
we're doing it,
what is it like? It's recommended to approach it gradually, like somehow I have the ability to be like now, and then the poop serpent's just gonna jump up through my skull and like fly through the top of my noggin, like it exploding out of my crown chakra. Like I just I have the option. Like it's my decision to make. It doesn't feel like
because I think there's probably like some kind of like class you could take where like happens right now, but like the point would be not to do that.
Right. So why would that class exist? Just like pay me extra and I'll destabilize you. Like the fuck?
Pay me extra.
God.
So so like there's things that can happen.
Okay, wait. Okay, I'm curious. Okay, sorry. Go on.
Ahead. No, you go.
No, my physical signs. I already seeing things that I have experienced,
Okay, go.
And I think as a direct result of my mediumship skills.
That was one of the things that I thought this would be perfect for her.
Why? What do you mean?
Because I think that this is going to open that channel for you,
right?
To be able to tap into that whenever you ask it to be.
Which is what my goal is, right? Like I know there's something I need to do, and then I kept thinking. So I'm a medium, but I am not like a medium in that like I can sit down with you and say, oh, you want to talk to your mom? Okay, let's do that. What happens to me is I will be in a one-on-one state with somebody that I'm close to or not close to. Sometimes it happens in a big public setting. Like it varies. But
she has no idea who it's for.
I have no idea when it's going to happen. I have no control over when it's going to happen. It just happens. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, your Uncle Bob is trying to talk to me, right? Like, and it just and in that moment, I know what's happening, and I can relay that information to you. But I don't have the ability, like the Long Island medium, to be like, okay, like sit down with me and let me tell you about whoever you're trying to talk to. And I want to be able to do that. I didn't know that I had that capability. I just don't know how to get there. So I thought I needed like a mentor or something.
Well, and the other thing that makes that a problem for you is the fact that you're also empathic. Right. So like if you don't know who the person is or who the person's trying to talk to, and that person's not a great person, you feel that emotionally and it drains you almost instantly.
It is very draining, but so like okay, physical signs of having a Kundalini awakening. I wonder if okay, so energy sensations, electric currents, tingling, or heat moving up the spine. Only up the spine or anywhere in your body?
It would be up the spine because that would be the pathway of the Kundalini energy. It only travels up your spine.
I have a herniated disc and 2 bulging discs. Do you think it's because the poop serpent got up in there and fucked my back up?
Or maybe the poop serpent's blocked. This all can't go
So
back down. Can't
the
go back down.
involuntary body movements, also known as kriyas, spontaneous shaking, twisting, or strange posture. So, like, do you ever get the phantom vibration?
Like
It
in your
almost like
muscles?
no, it'll be like on like my leg right here, or like on my leg right here. Almost like my phone is like sitting on my leg, and like somebody texted me, and it's on silent.
Oh, weird.
That happens to me all the time.
I get that in my back sometimes, but I always just equate it out to like muscle spasms.
No, it's not internal; it's external. It's on my
Oh,
it's
yeah,
on my
no, I don't.
skin. It's like a skin.
Weird, like a nerve thing.
No, it's on my skin, not nerve. Like nerves and muscles, that's all below the skin. Your skin, like
Weird.
it's as if like a phone is sitting on my leg, and somebody texted the phone, and it's on silent, so it just vibrates. It's like just
Weird.
yeah, that happens to me a lot. It's been happening to me for years.
Hmm.
I just thought it was crazy.
Weird.
And a lot of times I'll go looking for my phone, and it's over on the other side of the room.
Creepy.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot.
Ah, Steve.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
It's my dad.
Everything.
All right. Changes in breathing, rapid, shallow, spontaneous stops in meditation. Do you know what stops? Spontaneous stops in meditation. Okay. Um, you know, sometimes when I fall asleep, like I'll start thinking about breathing, and then I feel like if I, and then I've somehow I'll I'll try to go back to just breathing naturally without thinking about it, and I can't do it, and I'll stop breathing.
Oh my
And then
God,
I'm worried, and I feel like I'm gonna fucking die.
Yes.
That happens to me like multiple times per week. That's not like an occasional thing.
Yes.
What the fuck is that?
Like when I can't sleep, I have to try. Like that has been like something a therapist and a psychiatrist has always taught me because I have really like intense insomnia and like cannot sleep. And so I will like close my eyes when it's time for bed, and I'll like in through your nose, out through your mouth.
No,
in
but
through
see,
your
that's
nose.
not
But then, as I'm trying to do that, I will stop breathing.
right. So, okay, that's different than what I do.
Oh, okay.
I am not intentionally focusing on my breath. I just will all of a sudden start realizing that I'm breathing, and then start thinking about breathing in and out, and then I'll try to stop thinking about breathing in and out, and then I stop breathing, and I feel like I'm going to stop breathing and die.
Oh, that's because your brain.
I'm
is
so
too
crazy.
strong.
It's super crazy, right?
You just have a strong brain.
That's super weird. Now I'm thinking about breathing.
Yeah,
That feels like a weak brain.
So here's
Like the dumb blonde joke. You know that joke?
No.
There's a blonde and she goes to go get her hair cut, and she's listening. She has headphones on, and the hairdresser's trying to get her to take the headphones off so he can cut her hair, and she's like, "No, I have to leave them on." So she falls asleep in the chair, and so he takes the headphones off so he can finish cutting her hair, and she dies.
Oh.
And so then he picks up the headphones to listen, and says, "Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out." That's what I feel like. You've never heard that one?
No, but that's so you.
It's so stupid. I know, that's how I feel when I'm trying to fall asleep. Well, somebody give me my earbuds. I'm gonna fucking die in my sleep. Oh my god.
So this is something.
Oh, here, sleep, insomnia,
Yep.
vivid dreams, periods of needing very little sleep. That's me to a T. Been my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been having a Kundalini awakening my entire life. Is what you're
Yeah.
telling me. Maybe I started it in my past life, and now I'm like stuck in the middle of it. In this
Or
life.
like maybe we have been having the beginning. Like maybe we just don't know that's what it is.
Oh my god, this happens to me all the time.
What is it?
Okay, pressure in head or forehead within the area of the third eye.
Now.
Yeah, and that's been happening a lot more lately. It almost feels like sinus pressure.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
But I don't have, my sinuses are clear.
Yeah.
Temporary digestive issues. I'm constant, like back and forth.
Always.
Right. Racing heart. My heart will like
randomly, right?
Yeah, and I thought it was
and
just
only
because
for a short period of time.
Right. But I thought it was
look at it.
So, just a short period. But because I had when I used to shoot up a lot of meth,
Same.
and I had supraventricular tachycardia. You know about that, right?
Sure.
My heart was beating 280 beats per minute.
Yeah, I was tachycardic when I had sepsis.
Yeah, I fucking died on the sidewalk in front of the 99-cent store in Santa Ana. So every time I go to the doctor and I tell them about that event, they do an EKG and like everything's normal, but my resting heart rate is quicker than it should be, and I think it always will be. Same. So I always attributed it to that. But like, this sounds super stupid, but like it was happening yesterday. So like right here, It's not doing it. Wait, actually, it is. You can see my pulse in my armpit,
Weird.
and also if I lay without my shirt on, my boobs will jiggle every time my heart beats. Like my heart beats so strong that my boobs, you can see my boobs jiggle.
Huh.
Like if you look right there. Watch.
Oh, I can see it. That's weird. Ugh.
It's crazy, right? Like
Yeah.
why is my
Pulse in your armpit.
right, like why is my blood? I guess my blood pressure so strong that you can like literally like portions of my body will
Did you ever
move.
have a hard time shooting up, or was it always super easy?
Um, my veins are deep and they roll, so I did have issues finding a vein sometimes, but it was never like once I got the vein, it was fine.
I was just wondering about
Anyway,
that.
emotional signs.
So here's where the emotional, mental
Mm,
get a little bit. This is where it gets a little bit like where they caution you about it.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So right here it says emotional purification, old traumas or hidden emotions surfacing to be released. I am going to start
Yes.
the process of EMDR next week. Is going through EMDR and therapy help to progress a Kundalini awakening?
Here is where I was like, this is again a perfect time, I think.
Right, but that's not my question.
Okay, what was your question? Is it going to affect it?
Do you think that doing things through therapy to address old traumas, like shadow work, if you want to call it that, would help progress a Kundalini awakening,
Yeah, I think they would
independent
work hand in
of
hand.
spiritual work?
I think it would work hand in hand on its like without doing it together.
Right.
I think they would go together so perfectly.
Should we explain what EMDR is for
Yes,
somebody who
go
doesn't
ahead.
understand? Because it was not something I was familiar with. So
I'm not 100%.
I have a very small. I have the knowledge that my current therapist provided me so that I would be prepared or understand kind of what it is I'm in for.
Which we do
But
love her, by the way.
yeah, she's great. So a lot of people go through life events that are so traumatic that their brains block them out and you cannot remember it like with your conscious mind. I have had several events like that in my life. Several, right? It's just that a lot of times it's childhood trauma, like physical, sexual assault, whatever it may be. So I've been going to therapy for several months, and we're at a point now where my current therapist said that it's time for me to start EMDR. EMDR is something that they've developed where it's a series of hand movements, and they also can use like a clicker, I guess, so they can do it over the interwebs, like on a Zoom call. But essentially, the hand movements, what it does is it forces your right and your left brain to work together to recall memories that have otherwise been lost and bring them up so you remember events that your brain has blocked off from you, which are very traumatic, so that you can remember it and then like I guess relive it and then recategorize that memory properly so that it is now a memory and no longer something that's in the back of your head making you feel unsafe as if you are still reliving that trauma,
Right.
which can happen I guess subconsciously,
Right.
without you even realizing it.
So you can remember it without having it be a trauma, and you can just remember it as a memory and just move on from it.
Right. So the idea is to recall it, and then I guess the therapist is also a licensed trauma therapist, so that you recall it, and then they help you to stow it away as a memory, so it's not you're not in like this state of it as if it's still happening to you. Because what I guess the way they explained it in these videos she had me watch was like your brain gets stuck in this loop, and it's like you're like constantly reliving that traumatic experience as if you are still in danger even though you can't remember it with your conscious mind.
Right.
So EMDR is supposed to help you to recall it with your conscious mind and then categorize it safely and properly so that it's no longer a trauma that is affecting your day-to-day life.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like a form of like it could be categorized as like hypnotherapy, but like backwards almost.
It is to a degree. They say like they put you in a meditative state that can almost be like hypnotic, but it's not quite hypnosis.
Right.
Is the way that it was explained to me.
Right.
So I'm gonna start that next week, and I'm wondering if I could see if this is to deal with those past traumas could get you into a better state spiritually or emotionally, mentally, to be able to grow and expand spiritually.
Well, and I think that what I thought was like what clicked with me so perfectly about it was like there's a reason you came to me in the office that day and was like, like, I think I need to do therapy.
Yeah.
There was things coming up for you that have not come up for you in however long.
It was a it
That
was a
have
general feeling. It wasn't anything
Yeah,
specific.
right. There were feelings coming up for you that you were like, this, I'm pretty sure needs to be dealt with now.
Yeah.
Like maybe it never needed to be dealt with before, but now it needs to be dealt with. And I'm not sure why.
I can tell you why. My therapist explained it to me, and it made perfect sense. So living the life the way that we were when we were getting loaded, right? Like, so up until the last year, my life has been survival.
Mm-hmm.
My childhood up until my adult years, up until then I started doing crazy shit because then I started getting loaded and whatever. So
So late in life too.
yeah, I mean, I was getting loaded when I was younger, but it didn't take me down
It
like
didn't.
until I was well into my 30s.
Mm.
So anyway, I've been living life in survival mode. So all these traumatic experiences, all these terrible things that were happening to me, they were getting stuff down and stuff down and stuff down because I'm still trying to survive. So then I got sober. I grew to a state in my life after several years of being sober that everything in my life was great and perfect. Everything was good. There was no reason for me to be sad, upset, whatever. I had everything I needed, everything I wanted, plus more. But I was having this deep sense of like, hi, from like the inner depths of my soul was this sorrow that was bubbling up to the point where I was sobbing and I didn't know why.
Mm-hmm.
And the way my therapist explained it to me, she said, you've been surviving for so long, you as a survival mechanism, these things are getting shoved down so that you can continue moving forward. Now you're finally in a position where you're safe, you have everything that you need, and everything is okay. So all of these past traumas that you've been shoving down for 44 years, everything's coming to the surface because now it's time to deal with them. That's the way she explained it. And it made perfect sense.
Perfect sense. And I was just like, when I was reading this part, when like the emotional purification, it was like at that time, I was like, this is the last step for her. This is like a big deal that needs to be dealt with. Like, you know what I mean? And
Right.
this is like the last step for her life. Like, I don't know. Like, obviously, there's other things that you want to accomplish, but that's not what I mean. Like,
I needed the internal state.
that was like
That
the
was
last
the last,
step.
yeah, the last hurdle to where now I can be like in a state of like copacetic growth
Right, right.
versus like still like dodging like the past.
Right, and I thought that was interesting that it said that like like one of the signs of it happening is that those things come up,
Yeah.
that they surface and they're ready to be released at